So that's a deal that's not done. The deal that is, though, is Shai Bolton. He is off to Fremantle. And Joe Brierty is the EGM of football from the Dockers. He joins us on the line. Joe, welcome to Deadline Day.
G'day, Sarah. G'day, T. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on board, and congratulations. You've got a stunning player in Shai Bolton joining your club. I mean, you must be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, we are really, really excited about Shai coming in the door and joining our club and what he'll bring. It was a real priority for us in this trade period, and I think the talent is undeniable, but also the character in our discussions across the year to see if he could join Freo. So to have the deal done, really pleasing for our club and our playing staff, our playing group and staff group, but also our members and fans, because he's a pretty exciting talent.
Joe, take us inside the pursuit, because he was contracted for 4 more years at Richmond, but you found a way to bring him home. When did you identify him, and when did you really go after him?
Yeah, look, we've done a fair bit of work of opportunities around West Australians coming home, and seeing Clark come in the door, and obviously Jackson and Sharp in recent years, and then ultimately when we're looking from a midfield and high forward perspective, identify Jay, and he and his management, obviously discussions across the entire year about the opportunity to come home. So those conversations were ongoing, and as we look into the negotiation period, we're always trying to meet both parties' needs and find a common ground, and ultimately we felt like 2 first-round picks was appropriate for Shai, and working with Richmond to achieve that, and obviously finalised the deal early this morning.
Pick 14 was involved in the end. You started with 10, 11 and 18. You've got 14 back. How did that transpire?
Yeah, as I said, look, we felt like 2 first rounds was where it kind of sat in the beginning, and that's where we started from a negotiations perspective. And ultimately we go to the draft with a first round pick, and I guess a slide from 11 to 14 with that middle pick, and our starting point sat with 10 and 18. But we also have the opportunity now to bring in a future third round, which strengthens our hand for 2026 and what that looks like, whether that's collateral for trades in the future, or it's a stronger hand for next year's draft, that's for sure. And obviously, as we said at the start, the ability to bring in someone of Shai's talent, his experience, and what he'll be able to bring to our group in 2025, which is really exciting.
Joe, I defer to the experts in the trade and draft space, and for the draft it's certainly Kaltumi and Riley Beveridge, and they say that a slide from 11 to 14 isn't that great given the depth of this draft. Do you have a player or players that you're going to be going after with that pick?
Yeah, you're spot on, Sarah. It's a really strong draft from a first round point of view, and look, we put a lot of trust in Dave Walls. He's got a proven record over the journey with the recruiting team in bringing in talent no matter where the pick is. And we're sure that he'll continue to bring in another talented player this year at pick 14 and pick 30 as well. So I'm really confident in what they'll look like. And obviously there's a fair bit to play out with picks being able to be moved around leading into draft and what our final hand will look like. But yeah, we think that there's a really good player on offer at pick 14.
When it comes to the homegrown talent from WA, do you put more weight into that?
To be honest, we put a lot of weight into our environment and our culture. That's something we really focus on. We've got a lot of young Victorians or interstate players that are an important part of our nucleus and an important part of our leadership as a club. I guess the ability to attract WA talent coming home at some stage in their careers from a list management perspective is something that we'll always look for. But ultimately it comes down to the environment and culture we want to invest in, and our players loving being at our club and a part of the Freo family, and we think that what's ahead of us from a 2025 perspective and into the future is a good position to be in, especially from a list profile point of view.
Joe, Liam Baker officially landed at West Coast yesterday. Was there a moment across the weekend where you tried one last attempt to turn his head?
Yeah, look, we're on record on Monday morning that we had discussions with Liam's management, I guess, and Richmond on what that might look like, and tabled something formally. But ultimately, as we said at that time, he was a player of interest for us throughout the year. We had ongoing discussions, but he expressed a real desire to get to West Coast, which we respected, and it's obviously played out that way.
We've had a lot of success in recent years during the pre-season supplemental selection period. You got Jeremy Sharp at the start of the window last November. You got Patrick Voss early in the new year. Both of them played a key role in 2024. Have you got a few in mind once we get through this period?
Yeah, again, it's probably one we need to get through trade and kind of look at our list and how it's kind of coming together. and then get through the draft and what the opportunities may look like, and have those discussions at a list management perspective, from a list management perspective, and Wallsy and the team putting together their order. So not something that we've had initial discussions about, but you're right, the guys have done a great job in identifying those players, and Sharpie and Vossi came in and had a really strong impact across the year, and were important to us when needed.
Joe, I know the dust hasn't settled on this trade period. We've still got a few hours to go, but you mentioned keeping tabs on the talent that leaves WA and the potential to bring them back home. And, of course, Chad Warner is the name that we are hearing for 2025. I mean, what kind of tabs do you have to keep on a player like that?
Yeah, I think that not just Chad, but any WA talent, or even opportunities to bring someone in that we need from a list profile perspective, is a fair bit of work goes on in the background with your pro scouting, and obviously appreciate the talent that Chad is, and something that we'll continue to monitor. He's a Sydney player for the next 12 months, and if he desires to get home, we'll definitely want to be a part of those conversations.
Joe, it's not just about the players at this time of year. I want to ask you about a footy department change that happened this week. Jade Rawlings is such a familiar name in this game, and you've brought him out of Norwood. You've added him to Justin Longmuir's coaching department. Talk us through that decision. Yeah,
it's obviously great to bring someone of Jade's experience into the club. I was involved in 4 clubs previously, and then in the last 4 years, senior coach at Norwood, and premiership in 22, and then grand finalist this year in the Sample. So went through a really thorough process with the departure of Matthew Boyd, and Matthew had been really important to our coaching structure, but ultimately went home for family reasons, and then really took to scour the country to find who could be the best person to bring into our environment. And from Jade's point of view, his investment in his players, I guess from a culture point of view, he's really strong. From a values point of view as well, his ability to get the most out of his players, which he's been able to do at Norwood in particular. But he also will bring us some new ideas and different strategies from a defensive point of view. He and Justin actually crossed paths when they were doing their level 4 a few years back, and I think they'll connect really well, and I think he'll be a great asset to our coaching team when he joins in early November.
Joe, thank you so much for joining us on Deadline Day. You've got your man in Shai Bolton. What a fantastic acquisition indeed. How do you celebrate tonight? A nice glass of red, a juicy steak. What's on the menu?
Yeah, look, we'll get through the next few hours, and then looking forward to sitting down with some friends and maybe a nice glass of red. You're not wrong.
Enjoy. Thanks, Joe.
Take care.